Good morning, grade 4. How are you today? Our lesson today is lesson 6 from chapter 1, problem solving investigations. It's on page 43. I hope all of you have your books and open them on this page. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to understand the steps of a problem solving strategy. Now, our lesson actually is talking about real life problems if are from the world around us. So if I want to solve it, I actually have to follow a strategy. My strategy is consists of 4 steps. Okay, if I face a problem problem from the world around me, I have actually to start by what do I say? I have to start by understanding what do my problem about. Actually, understand it. Let's say it's about understanding the information that I have in my question. My question talking about population, talking about place chart value, talking about costs, prices, distance, whatever, and I have to understand what do they need me to do in this question. What do they ask me to find out? What's my question about? So this is how, or this is the meaning of understanding. Now, after you understand what do the question need from you, and after you understand all of the facts and information you have in this question, you go to plan. Now, plan means it's not only for a problem from lives, for math lessons. Planning is for everything in your life. If you want to keep going, if you want to go on, if you want to do anything in your life and be successful, you have to plan. Plan should be for everything happening in your life. Now, actually, in world life problems, in problem solving, a plan means, or it's the question of how. How can I find out the solution? How I can find out the price? How can I find out the population of the city? How? What shall I do? How can I visualize it, predict it? Okay, so the answer of how is a plan. After planning comes the third step, which is solving. In solving, maybe you will use one of the math techniques or math operations. You may add, you may subtract, you may multiply, divide, or you may use the place value chart. You may order, you may make comparison, you may looking for the least one, the most, or the greatest one. Okay, this is the solution. After it, and the last the last step is check. Check actually is, why do I have to check my solution? Because we are talking about problems from real life. So I will ask myself, does the answer make sense? Does it, logic or does it, acceptable, reasonable in my mind? Can I accept it? Of course, it cannot be acceptable if you get a price while it's in negative sign. Okay, or it would not be acceptable if you get a population of decimal 2.5. Okay, so you have to check, and sometimes maybe you will substitute to check. Maybe you will take the numbers what you get in the answer and make calculations. So after check, let's go to example 1. Okay, learn the strategy. It's on page 43. Okay, now the example, please read it. Okay, it's talking about 3 persons. They live in different cities and they give us the population of these cities, and then they ask us, where does Ben live? Okay, so under the step understand. What do you understand? They give us population, okay, of more than one city, and actually they give us some clues. They are in a box next to the question. They say, for example, and the city has the least population, and if you round to the nearest 1,000, the population of killer city is. So they give us some information that they help these informations help us to find out the answer, and I understand what's the question about. They can ask us clearly, where does Pen live? Okay, in a city that has which population? Okay, so this is what do I need to find. I found out and I understand what do I have to find. Then I go to plan. Now they tell us some informations about, or some information about Andy and Kelly places or cities. Okay, according to this. For example, they tell us that Andy's city has the least population. So to know out the least population city, I have to order. So this is one of the one of my plans to order between the numbers, to make orders for the number from the least to greatest. This is how can I find out where does Kelly live. And they say, in the second clue, they say, when rounded to the nearest thousand, the answer or the population will be 374. So I have to round. To what? To round to what? To the nearest thousand. Okay? So first so this is how I plan. First I have to order, and then I have to round the population. Now, how to solve? So depending on the clues to the right, and this, so actually, and understand, as I said, you put the three populations. Then what do we need to find? The population of Penn's city. You have to write out Penn's, to write Penn's. Then in solve, you have to write Andy in the first space, because they say that Andy lives in the city with the least population. Then they say round the remaining population to the nearest thousand. Now we round 372, we round to 373. Why I round to the nearest 10? Because actually they tell us that when they round to the nearest thousand, okay? And round the other number 373,926 to 374. So I round the other one. And I find out that since they say Kelly's, Kelly's city, when we round, he live in the city that has population of 374. So the only city that left for me is the 952. Okay. Now let's go to solve, apply the strategy on page actually 45. Okay. Now we will start with the first question. They tell us about someone, Kramer. Actually, Kramer, he wants to buy a car and he's looking for the least price car. Okay. So he is looking for prices, and there's a table here if you can notice. So what do you understand? I understand there are prices for many cars, and I understand that Mr. Kerman, he's looking for the least price, okay, car. So, or the least expensive. So my plan is to order them. If I order, I can find the least expensive. When I order, I find out that car C has, when I try to order, so I solved, I found out that he wants car C. So the first answer is car C. Then let's go to the second question. They ask, or they tell us actually there is a restaurant, the restaurant incomes, they were more than 80,000, but less than 90,000. Okay, and then they continue giving us information like what to put in thousand place, in 100 place. All of these are information. I understand it, and I understand they want us to find how much money did the restaurant make, the incomes for this restaurant. So how can I plan for questions that have, like this question, questions that have place value? Okay, they tell us in 10,000, in 100,000. Immediately go to the place value chart. Find out, or you can write or draw the place value chart. And to solve, fill this place value chart. Okay, then I start to filling it. Okay, to fill it according to their information. What do we have in ones? What do we have in tens? What do we have to hundreds, in thousands? And they tell us that it's less than 9, so I cannot put 9 in 10,000. So I find out that the number is 83,716. Okay, let's go to the question that after it. Actually, the last question is talking about the 3 girls, okay, or 3 persons, 4 persons, sorry. They live in different states, okay, and they give us the population of these states. Then they ask us, we understand it from the question, they ask us what is population of Angie's or Angie's state. They want us to find the population of her state. So to plan, I decide to put a table. Inside this table, I decide to put the name of the person and write next to him the description of his city or his state. What do they tell us about the state? And what rest from or left from the description after I finish everyone with his state according to the description, the state that left or stay, it will be Angie's state, which was the state that its population is 2,951,996. 96. Yes, please try to solve number 4. Okay, I hope you can solve it and find the solution as it's here. Okay, I want you to think about it and try to solve it alone. And now we finish. Let's go to the live lesson, live class, and discuss with each other, and I'm waiting for your questions.